moving forward, this is a segment that I did want to talk about. I feel like it was worth mentioning, and it's been a bit of a slow news cycle between races, with all due respect, but F3 did something interesting. They announced a prize fund. A story I saw over the weekend. And I did want to highlight this because F3 giving the top 5 drivers of Formula 3 a share of a €1 million prize pool, which inspired me to really discuss how insanely impossible it can be for anyone to reach F1. I want to ask you a question, Kevin. How much do you think it costs to reach Formula 1? Just ballpark it. You don't have to think super hard about this. I already have the answers. Let's say I'll give you the context.
Okay.
From karting age to Formula 1, let's say 19 years old. How much do you think it costs?
25 million.
Okay, maybe a bit aggressive, but it is in the millions.
I was trying to think of like sponsorship deals and things. Like maybe
there's a lot of different ways to get to Formula 1 monetarily, but this is a money
close
sport.
To 5.
This is a money game. According to estimates from Grand Prix 24/7, it's a very long and expensive road to Formula 1. They estimate, I would argue very conservatively, at €5 million / $5 million
I was right the second
in costs just to reach Formula 1. Other publications that I read ranging even beyond $12 million / €12 million, even up to 15. For context, estimates from Grand Prix 24/7, $50,000 to $100,000 per year for karting. This is going to include your travel, your kits, your materials, your engineering, parts, labor, etc. $200,000 to $300,000 per year for Formula 4. $800,000 to $1.2 million per season for Formula 3. And then a $2 to $3 million per year for Formula 2 before reaching Formula 1. And what Formula 3 are going to be doing, respectfully, is at least a little bit helpful. If you're one of these top 5 drivers, this is, of course, not going to go for everybody, but if you're one of these top 5 drivers, a share of a $1 million prize pool for something that's going to cost $800,000 to $1.2 million, getting some kind of money back, getting something to put towards the effort to maybe make it to Formula 2, to get some kind of return on investment.
Or just put money in your pocket if you've got sponsors covering the bill.
Yeah. I mean, that is super helpful. First place would get a $300,000 drop in the bucket, so to speak. Second place, $250,000. Third, $200,000. Fourth, $150,000. Fifth, €100,000. It's interesting to think about how expensive these things are, how unfortunately unattainable it is for people like you and me to throw our kids into the sport and be like, you're really going to be the next world champion. I did want to discuss. Hey, look, I did want to discuss this as what does it look like to get to Formula 1? What does it take? Let's say with money, you still have to have the skill, physical endurance, the mental toughness, and you still need some deep damn pockets. Deep pockets. A la Lance Stroll. And we dog on Lance Stroll all the time. We give him a lot of crap. We give him flack. And I get it. But you have to have some level of skill to at least be qualified to play, to make the sport.
I mean, you can't just... Yeah, I mean, you're right. We do.
There have certainly been worse pay drivers on the grid in his time that he has outlasted.
We dog on Lance Stroll quite a bit, and he is one of our favorites for DNFs of the week. But I mean, at the end of the day, dude, Lance Stroll's a solid driver, and I mean, hell, I mean, I'm not trying to make anyone catch strays, but I mean, he lasted longer than Mick Schumacher did.
Mm-hmm.
He lasted a lot longer than a lot of these other guys did.
Nikita Mazepin, another paid driver, right?
I was just about to say Mazepin. Yeah. I mean, he had a lot of sponsorship deals with him. It was a big deal when they cut him. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we dog on him quite a bit, but it's just because he's still here. At the end of the day, Lance Stroll's a solid driver. He's on the grid for a reason.
Now, he might not have necessarily gotten to this stage
Oh, hey,
sport
nepotism's nepotism. It is what it is.
Without the financial support. But
yeah,
I mean, he's stuck around and he has had some points finishes. He's made a podium. He's one of the youngest podium finishers of all time.
hey, if he DNF'd every weekend, his dad would have his dad would
No
have
choice.
to fire him. Yeah, but he's not.
Yeah.
So
with money, it still takes skill. It still takes endurance. It still takes some toughness. Without money, you still have to have not even just skill. You need to have supreme talent to get noticed by a scout, get signed to a development deal with a team, which they might help you pay your way through. You might still have to figure out some other kind of financial incentive. I mean, Lewis Hamilton's talked about how expensive it was and how taxing it was for his father and his family to put him through at least the early stages of his career, his dad working like 3 to 4 jobs, yada, yada. And even with being an academy driver, guys like Charles Leclerc, guys like, Gabriel Bortoleto, each one of these teams have systems and networks they run through. You might not even make it to Formula One still. Mm-hmm. The odds are not in your favor. Even with the supreme talent, you could never get your shot. Think about how many guys become reserve drivers and then just don't even whiff the track beyond a practice session. How many rookies, don't really end up being anything more than that practice session fill-in for what Formula One is currently.
Or not even that. Maybe, there's just some guys who are strictly used for driving for, on the stream or sim racing just to get specs out for the car.
Yeah.
We'll never know the names of.
I mean, yeah, there's a gentleman for Mercedes that does that. And heck, it's terrible because I knew his name and then all of a sudden I forgot it. But nonetheless, like it is like this, it's just proving your point. And after all of this, again, there's only 22 seats beginning in Formula One in 2025 or 2026, excuse me. Let's say you don't have the money and you don't have that level of supreme talent. Enjoy sim racing, buddy. I mean, it's going to be different. It's not going to look like Formula One.
Yeah.
And possibly different dreams for different series, right? Maybe GT3 or maybe some other series, which are still very admirable.
IndyCar. I mean, hell, NASCAR. Like anything motorsports is an expensive sport to get into.
Formula E, there's all sorts of different series, but like the amount of money it really takes to get to this level, the amount of skill, the amount of, honestly, to be fair, there's a certain level of luck involved, even just getting an opportunity at it. It's a very, very, very high bar to reach. And
knowledge. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to market yourself, how to make yourself marketable to getting
in front of the right people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, winning solves everything, right? If you can just win, it'll come to you is kind of the idea. But even some of the best drivers in the world, good winners, still not close to this level. And I guess this wasn't necessarily like a huge point. Like I didn't have a final like bow to really put on this, but it just kind of like talks about how expensive, how very challenging it is for people to dream of this sport, for people to leverage their entire lives. There are families that put everything that they have behind some of these drivers. You talk about guys in Formula 2 who've reached that level, whose entire families have leveraged, like mortgaged the house, right? Like taking out loans and putting all this money and all this effort and all this energy into giving you the opportunity to hopefully pay it off and become a Formula One driver. And then getting up to that level, if you can't crack it, right? You get a few $1 million contract, that helps pay some of that stuff off. But along the way, maybe a sponsorship deal has a percentage, your agent's fees, other things that cost. It really is an ambitious and daring and huge leap of faith for a lot of these families in every circumstance, even if you are pretty well off, to put your kids through this. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe a bit of a hats off to the guys who do get to that level, who do stick around and who can make careers out of Formula One. Guys like Carlos Sainz who don't necessarily win every single race. Guys like Alex Albon who've stuck around the sport for a long time without a win. Pierre Gasly's only got one win. Like you have a lot of these veteran drivers who stuck around and done a fantastic job. Nico Hülkenberg, who's been, who was on the grid at a certain point, became a reserve driver at another point, now back to being, a full-time driver. All this to say, it's ambitious, it's scary, it's daring, and, for anybody who really does make this their career, like, I guess this is kind of like that that moment of adoration where it's like, hey, look, it's tough and I respect you for it. It's challenging. And it's unfortunately not very attainable. It's like I don't know if I had to guesstimate it, it'd probably be like 0.0001% of every driver with an aspiration to make it to Formula One makes it. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot. But at the end of the day, if you got the skill, you can make it pretty far, but not everybody, even with the skill, makes it this far. So I don't know. I didn't really have like a nice little bow to put on this. But I did want to talk about it, how I think it's a really good step forward, at least in a way. And it helps these families and it helps put something back into that investment. Top 5 among a huge pool of drivers, with all due respect. But it is helpful for these guys who can try to make it to the next